But I think the biggest gain I got was networking with other moving company owners. I have a network of dozens and dozens and dozens of moving company owners, and kind of like we were talking before this, everyone kind of has their own little specialty. And so, if I have a question about SEO, I've got a friend for that. If I got a friend, a question about sales comp or manager comp, I have other friends for that. And
Welcome, everyone. I'm Christina Hawkins, and I'm with the Lift Your Moving Marketing podcast. And today I'm going to be speaking to Zane Ponsetti from Wildcat Movers, and who has been in business since 2003, long time. Hi, Zane. Nice to meet you.
hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah. And I found Zane because I got a Facebook ad and I saw he had a course, and I thought that was pretty cool. The fact that an actual mover had his own course, and I thought that was a really interesting way. It is Pro Mover University, so
Correct.
we're going to be talking a lot about his moving company, Wildcat Movers, as well as the course. So tell me, how did you get started in the moving industry in 2003?
Well, so my first job, one of my first jobs in high school was working for a local moving company in Midland. I started my own company in 2007 in College Station, and it was just I had a Ford Bronco. I bought a little 16 by 7 foot trailer. We could barely even get, in a 1 bedroom apartment's worth of stuff in it. And just started hustling, did some deliveries from some local furniture companies, pretty standard story, like a lot of movers. A lot of people get into this business because they don't have a lot of money, but they've got a lot of hard work behind them. I did that in College Station till about 2012 when I moved to Dallas, opened my second location there, and then ran both for about 4 years till 2016. I definitely did not have the correct systems and processes in place. So we weren't able to manage two locations. We closed the College Station branch and then just ran with the Dallas branch from 2016 till now. And now we've got 13 trucks. Peak of summer, we had, I think, 36 movers. I've got um, 5 salespeople, 3 ops managers, and 2 office managers. So pretty sizable business. But yeah, that's kind of the overview of how I got into this.
And where are you located? You're up in Dallas? Is that
My
right?
company.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my company is in North Dallas, but I live in Durango, Colorado.
Oh, you do this remote? You manage a
I moved out of Dallas in 2019. So
Oh,
I've been a remote owner for 5 years now.
oh, that's interesting. Have you thought about starting a moving company where you are, or are you just good with Wildcat Movers and
No, I live in a small town. About the county's only like 40,000 people. The whole region, I'm kind of in the Four Corners region, and there's only about 250,000 people within about 2 hour drive of where I live. So it's pretty rural, pretty small. I do think there is an opportunity to open a moving company here. There is one decent sized mover, but the ceiling in Dallas is so high. I think we've got the potential to. We're planning on adding a couple more trucks to our fleet. I'm actually in the process of ordering 4 brand new trucks for next year.
Mhm.
So, and then selling a couple older trucks. So we'll be at about 15 trucks next year. Hopefully we'll be able to run about 12 full time in the summertime next year. But yeah, that's kind of the
Huh.
plan. I like Durango too much to open a moving company here.
It's interesting though. I just haven't met a moving company owner that manages the moving company remotely. So my business is remote, so I get the remote part of it. That's interesting. Okay, cool. Where are you? Where does your moving company specifically locate? I mean, what are your locations? You just mostly Dallas? Do you kind of go outside of the Dallas area, like in Austin or Houston or Oklahoma?
Yeah, so we are just interstate right now. So just within the state of Texas,
Mhm.
primarily a local mover around Dallas Fort Worth area, but we do quite a bit of intrastate, particularly Houston's our number one long distance market.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
from the biggest metro to the second biggest metro in the state. So a lot of traffic between that. We do a few moves a month down there, Austin, and then all over. Actually, we find that we do a lot of, we call it like regional stuff within 2 hours of Dallas Fort
Yep.
Worth,
Yep.
but not, a lot of rural people retiring, moving out to their lake house and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've heard of that and either Austin in that the lake area up near the Austin side is typically where a lot of folks retire to. When you started Wildcat, what are some of the milestones that you can specifically remember that kind of shaped the success of the company? I mean, you started off kind of one truck, it's you, but what are some of the bigger milestones as you grew the company?
That's a good question. The first one that comes to mind was I was probably 2 years into business and, I was keeping my revenue in just like a notepad. And I remember I did $13,000 in a month and I thought I was rich. Now, granted, it was literally just me and another guy. So, I mean, my margins were huge back then. I probably took home over half of that for at 22 or 23 years old. That was a lot of money to me. That's the first one I always remember. When I hit that five figures for the month, I thought I'd made it. Other milestones, I would say once we got to about four trucks in Dallas, I hired, and it took me a long time to get there. I didn't have any corporate background. I didn't realize how corporate structure, how to have an org chart and those things. So it took me a long time to get up to a few trucks. About 2014, I hired he's my office manager now, Daniel Massey, and he's been with me for 10 years now. So looking back, that was a huge pivotal moment. I was doing sales and ops and doing the whole thing, and having somebody to take that off my plate to answer the phones, do the sales, and handle the back end stuff, so I could focus on operations and networking and then on sites. That was a huge step for us, and realizing that I didn't realize, but I've been hitting kind of a limit for years, and I couldn't get any bigger, and is because everything went through me. And then once I really realized the delegation piece, then shortly after that, I think within like 6 months or a year, I got an operations manager. And now I was just free to go do in homes and network all day. And that's what really opened my eyes. Like, wow, I've got to build this structure and this organization and
That's how you
process.
scale. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the pivot. I just interviewed somebody about a month ago on EOS, building the your operational team and what that looks like and all the stages that you have to go to and all the the stones that you have to clear to that path that you have to clear in order to grow. And there's just certain things you have to do, and one of them is an ops manager. I'm always feeling when you just start, that one person's always answering all the phones, and I feel like that would be a hire. Like that would be an ops manager and somebody, a sales rep that's answering the phones. That's
Yep.
all they do all day long is they answer phones, they schedule the moves, they send the estimates. That person would be like the next hire, as you start scaling, because you can't. I mean, I can't. I've got a team of 12 now. There's no way. There's just no way I could do it by myself. So I think you're right. That's a good stepping stone. Is there any other level that you can think of? Like, what would be your next level? You got four trucks.
Yeah. So, I mean, we only hit 1 million in sales, I think in 2019 or something like that, give or take a year. That was a big milestone. And then since then, we've just exploded past it because we just, the one thing that we've always done right is we've always done good moves. So we're the most reputable moving company in Dallas. We pay really well, and we've got over 1,800 reviews, 4.8 stars. I hate to say that because we were 4.9 until recently. So we're really clawing hard to get back. So yeah, I would say once we hit 1 million, things really changed for us also pretty quickly. And yeah, I can't really think of really that those tipping points of getting those processes lined out. And the biggest thing with my company is the reason I can live in Colorado and most owners can't is because we have systems and processes and clear lines of delegation.
Mhm.
And that's something that took me a little too long to build, but now that we've built them, they're extremely strong.
Those SOPs are really important. Do you have what kind of services are you offering? Obviously the moves, but do you have like a storage facility? Do you have pack onlys? Do you, I mean, what kind of services do you provide?
Yeah, so we mostly just do local, intrastate. We do packing. We don't cross state lines, and we currently don't have storage. We've been looking at getting into storage and interstate. I think we may do interstate first, but yeah, to be determined. So
That's a whole level of insurance and liability and the trucks themselves. You have to have a specific license for interstate. And I mean, you're literally crossing state lines. So that gets complicated to do that.
yes, yeah. So there's a lot more regulation that I'm not 100% familiar with, but we are starting to do a lot of overnight within the state of Texas.
Easy to do.
Yeah, as you know, South Texas is a day away, far West Texas is a day away. So we're starting to get those processes really dialed and being very profitable with them. And we feel like we finally have the staff and the experience that it would be, getting the license, the MC number, and the USDOT number. It wouldn't be too hard for us because we have that ironed out now.
Mhm.
Uh, so we'll see. Get back to me in a year. We'll see where I'm
Yeah,
at.
I will. I'll reach out. What other is, since the pandemic, it's been struggle for the past year for moving companies. Obviously, we've got high interest rates and the housing market isn't that great. Personally, I see it slowly trickling back. I feel like once we get through this year and this election year, I'm crossing my fingers 2025 just kind of chills a little. But what have you done to augment this slowdown? And just from my experience, what people have done is they've kind of added services like cleaning, junk removal, clean in and clean out. Like they have a whole staff that comes in, cleans your house out after you move in. Have you done anything like that?
Um, I'm really big on sticking in your lane until you make it. I see a lot of people doing that, and you can be successful with it, but if anybody were to ask me, should they do that? I would probably, in most cases, advise against it. That you can always go deeper with the lines of service that you're offering, and that's what we've done. We really saw leads really start to fall off last year, about July. And I frankly doubled down on SEO. I had an agency I was working with. I didn't feel like they were doing a good job. I'm pretty well versed in it. And so I started doing it myself. I built my own strategy, mostly around content. And I hired some people on Upwork. I built a little Upwork team and we built tons and tons and tons of pages. And this year, every marketing line we have is down except for Google organic
Mm-hmm.
and our affiliates, so our realtor referrals. Our Google organics up about 60% in revenue,
Mm-hmm.
and our affiliates are up many multiples, but it was pretty low last year. But the biggest gain we've had is in our Google search results. So our web traffic's up about 50 to 60% year over year right now.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's awesome. If someone, how important to you, and I'm just back to, this entrepreneurial journey, how important is it to you and your team and your business to have a continuous learning, training for moving, for you as well as your team? How can, how can some moving companies stay ahead of the industry trends through education?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that's helped my business was meeting other moving company owners. I don't know if you're familiar, but Louis Massaro started a conference series back in 2018, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
I went to his second conference and then went to him, I think, three or four in a row until the pandemic when he wasn't able to hold them in person. And when I first went to his first one, I think we were doing like six, 700,000.
Mm-hmm.
I was figuring stuff out. I would have improved without it, but I definitely think the conference was really good in itself. So a lot of credit to him there for that. But I think the biggest gain I got was networking with other movement company owners. I have a network of dozens and dozens and dozens of moving company owners. And like we were talking before this, everyone kind of has their own little specialty. And so, if I have a question about SEO, I've got a friend for that. If I got a friend, question about sales comp or, manager comp, I have other friends for that. And so
Moving questions and follow. Yeah.
there's
Same.
definitely ways to innovate in this industry with particularly technology, I think, but the core of moving, the financials of moving haven't changed much in, since I've been in the business for 17 years. And so instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and learn all this through trial and error like I did, and these resources didn't exist in 2007. They've just really podcast and training courses and seminars and Facebook groups. Those didn't exist until here just in the last few years. And there's so many resources. I would say don't get too bogged down in like I need a fire hose everything, but the number one thing that's helped my business is learning from moving company owners that have already built successful businesses.
Yeah. I would totally agree with that. I belong to other digital marketing agency conferences just for the growth of my business. But also, if I lived in a vacuum, I wouldn't know half the stuff I know now. Just from an SEO, paid ad, Facebook, there's so much and it changes every single day. I can't be an expert in all of it. So I've got, same as you, a similar type of group that I have access to, and I ask those typical questions in addition to growing the business. So I can see, and I've heard of, what's his name again?
Louis Massaro.
Louis Massaro. Yeah, I follow him on Instagram. He's really good. I like what he has to say, and I think he's got some really good advice, especially when it comes. He's sales, a lot of sales and operations, kind of what he's been showing. But yeah, awesome. What's been some of the bigger challenges that you've had in your business, and what have you had to address them?
I mean, there's the fun thing about business is that there's always a challenge, right? And every time something comes up, the sky is falling. I think my business is pretty small early on. Um, kind of the ups and downs didn't affect me as much until right around the time of the pandemic. The pandemic we had about May, June of 2020. We just didn't have a summer season start. And it did kick off in July, but everybody's scrambling, trying to figure out how to get more business we literally have customers canceling those 2 months saying, keep my deposit. I don't even care. I just don't want your movers in my house out of safety for COVID reasons. And then, as bad as we thought that was, the biggest boom I've seen was right after that, about July of 2020 until about 3 years later, July of 23. We had 3 phenomenal years. The fire hose came on though in 2020, and there's nobody to work, right? And the biggest thing that we tackled then was our hiring and recruiting process. We started spending about 2%, 3% of our revenue on Indeed ads,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then systematizing that interview setup process. Now we get about 1,000 applicants a month. We spend a ton of money on
Wow.
Indeed, probably averaging about 2 to 3%, so a little less than 1% of our revenue just on Indeed ads. So we just have tons and tons and tons of people. We set up about 100 interviews a month, all automated through email. We only have about 40% of those show up. So we interview about 40 guys a month, when in a good month, we'll only lose 2 to 4 guys. We're able to cherry pick the best of the best. So that was a huge hurdle in the last few years, was hiring. Now
Mhm.
we're having the opposite problem, especially because we pay well. We've got a big pipeline of movers, and the leads were hard. About last year, July of 23 till February of this year, we were down. I lost about $120,000 in 5 months.
Mm.
Uh, and it was tough. And we just, the leads weren't there. But we through SEO, hitting the streets, getting back to the stuff that we built the business with networking, those type of things.
Mhm.
Got some of my guys in BNI groups,
Mhm.
really just pounding the pavements. We've been slowly ramping those avenues up that we can control. We've had our postcards pegged for over a year. We can't send any more of those, and they help. But Dallas is, a crazy competitive postcard market. So it's not like a lot of these other markets where you can
Mhm.
turn it on, turn it off. If you don't have it full going all the time, it's hard to make money with them.
And you can't do it once. You can't send a postcard. You got to send multiple. We've got a program where it's called a retargeting postcard. So if somebody lands on the site, if we have their address, we can immediately send them a postcard the next day,
Oh, that's
um,
cool.
giving us certain zip codes. And so I always tell people, you've got 10, we have to go 10 to 15 touches before somebody actually picks up the phone. It
Right,
used to be 7. That's not the case anymore. I mean,
right.
everybody's just getting bombarded. And so it's 10 to 15, some say 20, but yeah, the postcards, the SEO search, the social media ad, the post on Instagram, the and just keeps on going. But yeah, that's all. So you're in BNI as well. Do you have multiple salespeople and multiple BNIs?
Yeah, I have my office manager, my sales manager in BNI right now.
Okay.
And that's something we're about to get the rest of our sales team and BNI groups as well. So
Oh,
those are, they're not game changing, but they are fruitful. And I think also it was good for me. I was in a BNI for years,
okay.
and it really, I was young when I started. I was like 27, and it really helped me be a more of a professional. And I still use the same banker from BNI. I still have one of the top realtors in Dallas. And
Yeah.
actually one of my sales managers in my old BNI group from 8 years ago that's still around. There's still a handful of people from that original group, and it's a very strong group. Um, yeah, it's especially people starting out.
Yep.
Definitely get a BNI. It's not going to change you're not going to change your leads day one,
Nope.
but if you stick with it, it's amazing, and you build really good connections.
Well, I think like you said, one of the biggest impacts is it trains you how to be a professional networker. And
Yeah,
it trains you how to speak to people, how to stand up and give your elevator pitch, build relationships, which in any business is crucial. I mean, you
yeah,
really have to get to know the banker, get to know the realtors, get to know the cleaning people or the whatever. And you just build this little network of people over time. It's and the other thing too is you got to be there early in the morning, be
yeah.
ready, and have regular meetings with everybody. So I'm like you. I agree with it. If it's just if you're starting out, I actually started one here in Houston because I wanted to do lunchtime. I was a mom, and mornings were difficult, so I started one. I haven't been in it in a while, but I highly recommend if you're just starting out. So anybody out there, try that BNI. Absolutely. So, for someone that might be new to the moving industry, what are uh, top three top three things that you would tell them to focus on when they just start their moving companies?
You got to generate leads first. I mean, that's number one. So, if you don't have deep pockets, business cards and flyers goes a long way. Go out there. Your time is free when you're not making any money. So, apartments, storage buildings, retirement homes, and then realtor sales meeting presentations. Those are really cheap ways to get out in your community, BNI. Um,
Chambers, yeah, real estate functions are out there. Yeah, that's
yeah,
hoof it, man. Get outside your house or your building and start driving around and start some handshakes, and that's the best way. Yeah.
Yeah, when I first got to Dallas, I had a list of 100 storage apartments and retirement communities that I would hit every single week. And
Mhm.
every day I had a bakery make me a little box of 4 pastries. I'd get 25 boxes of pastries and hit every single one of those every week. And I did it for about 6 months until I saw that revenue start to flatten out. And um, that's an easy way to generate. And then with those moves, get reviews
Mhm.
because that's what's going to take you to the next level. Get those reviews and then have a website with content that will bring people in, have a contact form. So I don't know how many we're at now, but that there's some. And then at the end of the day, and then answer your phones,
Mhm.
have a sales team, and there's other sales solutions now like Move Bees and stuff.
Yep.
Like
Yep. Yep.
when I couldn't afford a salesperson, I wish I had that solution.
Mhm.
You don't know those solutions seem expensive, but you don't know how expensive it is to miss a call.
Yep.
There's literally every time my phone rings, I don't know the number anymore. It's been years since I've done this, but about $250 a phone call.
Mm,
So it's probably more like $400 a call now. So if you don't answer that call, you're missing 400 bucks in revenue.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then just do good.
I tell people don't ever let it go to voicemail. You should never, ever have a call go to voicemail because the likelihood of you calling them back and them answering the phone is very small. And so we get
That's
some
that point.
folks who are like, it's not working. It's not working. I'm like, well, are you picking up the phone? Well, we call them back. I'm like, that's not going to work. You have to, somebody has to call, and it can't be your wife who's picking up the kids and cleaning the house. She's got her own job. She can't be your salesperson. You have to have either you or somebody else, or hire a call agency that knows what they're doing, especially because that's the, in my mind, the other side of it too, is they know what to say when they pick up the phone. So all right, yeah, so phones for sure.
Another solution for that too, we have an answering service that's super cheap, like $1 a minute, and they take all of our overflow. It gets emailed. They even submit it into our CRM as a lead.
Mhm.
If it's a general message, it gets emailed to the entire sales staff. So that's another cheap solution, but that only works if you are just tied up for a minute and you call them right back.
Right.
If you can't let those leads sit there for hours, that's a huge, huge killer too.
They've already called 10 other people.
Yeah.
Already, it's done. And they
Yep.
don't want to call anyone. They don't want to talk to anybody else. So yeah, that first call within 5 minutes. I mean, shoot, you better call them right back.
Yep.
So that's cool. Is that three? One, hoof it, get out there. Two, answer the phone. What's the third one?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd say three would be do good moves. Get your guys, you're probably gonna have to start out with used trucks. That's how most of us start out. There's nothing wrong with that, but buy the nicest trucks that you can and stock them with quality equipment and then learn how to do a good move. And then train your guys before you ever throw them out there and show them how to do that. Shameless plug here. I've got Pro Mover University. We have mover training, but if you already know how to move, at a minimum, teach those guys how to do a good job and hold them accountable. Do spot checks, and then if you're not familiar with the moving industry, if you're just getting in, you've just been hustling labor. A course like mine, you can learn how to use bands and shrink wrap and protect furniture, use dollies, load trucks, things like
Mhm.
that. But yeah, learn how to do it like a professional and hold your guys to that level. And that's where in some years our repeat referral usually is around 30 to 40% of our revenue.
Mhm.
So if you do a good job for a customer, that's 30 or 40% of that ticket price next year. So $1,000 move for a happy customer is worth $400 next year. So you got to do good work. That's the way out of high marketing cost is repeat referral. And the only way you do that is by doing a good service.
Yeah, I agree. I've had some folks have trouble with when something gets damaged. And that right there is another opportunity, actually, in my mind. If you've made a damage, do your best to correct it because you'll actually get a review from that. If you do it correctly, answer their phones immediately, get it solved as quickly as possible. Those actually are the ones that are going to give you the really great reviews because they came to you with a problem, you immediately solved it. Those guys are, and then they'll refer you because they
Yep.
know if something were to go wrong, you're gonna fix it. And
Yep.
that's been a struggle for some because they try and do it internally and it doesn't work as well. I don't know what your experience is with that. One of my clients actually hired a third party to manage all of it because he realized he's really not very good at it and he was getting really bad reviews. Someone else does it now. His reviews started going up again. So would you recommend something like that?
We do it all internally. All of the highest performing movers that I know do it internally. I don't
Hmm.
think it's a bad thing, but one, especially when you're small, you should be able to limit those claims in the first place. So you shouldn't be having a ton of claims. I mean, we're a bigger company. We're doing as many as 250 moves in a month.
Hmm.
So even at a good claim rate, you're still having 10, 15 claims in a month anyways. And so we have somebody do it all in-house. Quick turnaround times are important. Like you said, we've turned a lot of 1-star reviews into 3 to 5 star reviews. Even if you can just get that 1 star up a couple stars, it really helps in the long run. And I haven't turned a lot of damage claims into 5-star reviews. I still feel like no matter how happy they are, it is possible we've done it, but it's not the easiest thing on the planet. Just treating them like you'd want to be treated, and making them fair offers, and just trying to do your best. Claims is the worst part about this business. Well, that and truck accidents. And so anytime you're wrecking a truck or breaking a customer's furniture, it's the worst part of this business. Um, well, I mean, I can also think of people getting hurt on the job. Thankfully, we've never had
Mhm.
anything too bad, but that's what keeps owners up at night. And again, training, driver training, mover training, safety training. Those are all super, super important.
Which leads me to your course. This
Yeah.
is why you're here. I wanted to learn more about the course and what inspired you to create a course specifically for moving company owners.
Yeah, so originally I have a freelance marketer that just does some small tasks for us. He's been working for us for a few years. And I hit him up saying, "Hey, I'd like you to come film our new mover training. And so that we can just have it documented. We'll put it in Google Drive or something, just to have that knowledge base saved in case for whatever reason some turnover in the ops team or something like that." And he filmed it, and I looked at it and I was like, dang, this is really good. And he's like, dude, I think you could sell this. And I was like, okay. So we threw it up on, there's a platform called Kajabi,
Mhm.
and we started with just the mover training stuff and put it out there. We got some pretty good traction from it, good feedback. People really liked it. So we did a driver training module. We put some stuff in about how to have an ops manager manage your moving team. And then we just snowballed from there. My end goal is to eventually have it be an all-encompassing, almost like a training manual for owners. And so we've done sales management. We're getting into marketing. That's our next focus. We've done some marketing stuff. We have two of the cool things that I think that I've never seen anybody else do is I break down one of my P&L statements from 2022 because it's our best year, but just to show you everybody ratios of like, what's your labor ratio? What's your sales team ratio to revenue? What's your ops team? So on and so forth. Another thing I just screenshot our marketing ROI report from Smart Moving and went through and showed like all of our revenue sources and like the cost of those and the cost for each channel and the decision making. Like, for example, we dropped Google local service ads this year because with the decrease in volume, they were
Yep.
no longer profitable.
Yep.
Um, and because we keep an eye on that, we can see that trend. It was
Mhm.
trending that way. It was unprofitable for a few months. So we started cutting spending. And then finally we cut it out because we couldn't figure out how to make it profitable. But anyway, and then we have a finance module again where I break down a P&L. I talk about pricing. I've got a spreadsheet in there to help moving company owners figure out what they should charge per hour. Because a lot of movers, they just call their top five competitors,
Oh, God.
whatever,
How much does it
whatever,
cost to move? Yeah.
whatever they charge a
Mhm.
little less,
Mhm.
and that's a race to the bottom. And so I'm really big on premium rates, so
Mhm.
I talk a lot about that in the course. Yeah, and so it's been a fun project and had a ton of great feedback, and I really like that we're really helping kind of improve moving company owners' probability of positive outcomes with the course.
Yeah, you kept it really affordable too. And I watched one of the modules, one of them, which I appreciate. He was wrapping up a dresser. And I was
Yeah.
watching it like, I never knew. I just the methodology and the care and the rubber bands and I thought that was really neat. And I just thought if you've got somebody you're trying to train, I mean it's easy enough to sit them in a room. Okay, now watch all the training courses. And one less thing that a company owner has to do is create training for their staff. They can just get a course. I don't know how your modules are set up, but yeah, I mean that's that's
Yeah.
great.
So our mover training course specifically, it's literally our new mover training that we do with every new mover that starts at Wildcat Movers. So
Yeah.
you're
Mhm.
getting an insight into the most reputable, highest rated mover in Dallas, behind the scenes, how we do it. We've got dressers, nightstands, fridges, washer dryers. We've got And then we have like how to load a truck. And it's not like a full truck, but like you said, the methodology behind how to put things in there, how to strap them, all those things.
Heavy on the bottom, light on the top. Tetris, it's not about Tetris. It's making sure everything's going to stay put when we start driving off. So, yeah.
And another thing that we have that I've never seen either is a driver training course. We're filming our ops manager as he's like going through the course, like he would do it for somebody else. We've got our driver training checklist, which is super important. We do that with every single driver. We mark off every maneuver, make sure that they're capable. And yeah, so there's tons of great resources that I've built over many years that we're providing. And yeah, again, it's definitely, as far as I know, it's very affordable. It's on the low end. We're hoping to really sign up a lot of people versus making it some extremely premium course.
Right. Maybe you add on different modules as you go, and maybe an extra $50 for this extra big module. But again, especially if you're just starting out, $100 is very, very reasonable. So
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Just what are some of the key components? I mean, you've got the drivers, you've got the movers, you've got some of the sales, you've got operations, you got marketing. Those are all the 5 key components. What about more inside each one of them? What can someone expect from the mover side, the packing, and what other individual trainings in there?
Yeah, so there's packing training as well. I would say we've covered most of the operation side of things currently. What I'm excited about going forward is the marketing. We've got a SEO module that we're just launched,
Mhm.
uh, and then like we're going to work our way down the most effective channels that we use at Wildcat, which is going to be repeat referral, which has a lot to do with review fetching, email marketing, and these things aren't out yet. This is what we're working on right now. And then a postcard module and a affiliate slash realtor networking module. So those are all things that we're planning to release sometime this year. And then hopefully early next year, we're going to dive a little deeper into a sales module. We have a sales management module. It's pretty short right now, but just kind of main KPIs like number of missed calls, time to contact, conversion rate, like leads to booking conversion rate, and managing those, monitoring those KPIs, having sales meetings. We've got our sales meeting schedule in there for monthly, weekly, and daily sales meetings. That's all already in there. And then in the future, we'll do a little bit more about like actually what to do on a call or on a virtual to
Like
convert somebody.
sales scripts. Do you have sales scripts for guys? What to say, when to say it, kind of thing?
We don't have that yet. I don't think I'll ever put like a verbatim sales script, because what I've seen in the industry is when people put stuff out like that, ends up just getting copy pasted. So I think we'll do like a framework to
Mhm.
say these are the steps in the sales process, and then let people kind of fill it in as they in their own. Chat GBT now, if you have a framework, you could throw that in and it'll spit you out a sales script.
Careful with that though, but yeah, that's like it can be a little delusional
Yeah.
in its answers. Awesome. What are your, I think, well, you just told me your future plans for the course is expand on the marketing side. Any other modules that you're going to be adding to it, except maybe within the modules?
Haven't, that's where we're at. That's going to take us quite a few months to get all that put together. So we'll kind of reevaluate at that point where we're at. Yeah. So that's kind of our,
Where you're at?
that's as far as I got.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm curious about your technology. I'm very familiar with smart moving. But I consider smart moving. I mean, just to tie that back into the course, are you offering kind of a technology side on running the business? Here's how we use smart moving. There's a whole Facebook group on it that you can just see all kinds of questions in there constantly. A lot of them are marketing. A lot of them are, how should I pay my movers? The tipping questions and all that stuff. I'm not an operational person. I'm a marketing person, but I can see inside smart moving. I like it. I can get data in. I'm an automation person. I come from a tech background. I've been tech support. I built websites for 25 years. And so I can get stuff into smart moving. I can't get it out unless I push it through MailChimp. Their API just isn't the greatest. What are your thoughts on the role of technology when it comes to, again, let me back up. So one thing too is smart moving to me is an operational CRM, but it's not a marketing CRM. I use my Moving Up app, which is based off of Go High Level, because it's just got everything, and I can create all kinds of great automations in it. I can have call tracking, email marketing, you name it, and I can make it what I need it to make. What are your thoughts on that? On technology?
Yeah. So first with smart moving, I definitely think there's a lot of automations. I have a lot of connections inside of smart moving that I talk to, and that's definitely one thing that they're pretty aware of, marketing and sales automation. I do think it's pretty good. I think for most moving company owners, it's probably, more, there's a lot of features that people don't take advantage of. And as far as that goes, we do a little bit of stuff we hit on how we set up smart moving to give accurate estimates and things like that. And I do want to do more training in Pro Mover University because I do think that's a big opportunity, is helping people figure out how to set it up. So I do agree, and I hope that smart moving will develop more of that. But as far as the operational, correct. I think it's phenomenal operational CRM. I think the sales module is good, not great. I'd like to see a little better pipeline from them, and I've told them that. But I do think you can articulate, I think they call it statuses. So we've had that. We've created a pipeline through one of their ways that you can categorize things, and they've made some improvements there. It's hard. There's so many moving parts with running a company. A lot of people have tried moving CRMs, and smart moving is the best, I think, that's done it,
Mhm.
but they still have a long way to go, and there's a lot of competition. And so hopefully with that competition, it'll keep creating innovation.
Mhm.
As far as our technology stack, and that's a good point. That'd be a really good thing for us to talk about in the course. But as far as Wildcat Movers goes, the reason I can live here in Colorado and have a company in Dallas is because of technology. I mean, smart moving is probably our number one, but then Samsara, which is, are you familiar with Samsara?
No, I'm not. Mm-mm.
It's a truck camera and GPS tracking. So you put it on the windshield, and it's got a forward facing and cab facing camera. So we can see everything the guys are doing. It even has an AI coaching tool. So it can tell if they have their seatbelt on.
Oh,
It
no way.
Yeah, it'll
Cool.
tell the guys, hey, put your seatbelt on, you're tailgating, you're following too close. It'll literally yell at them like, increase follow distance. Yeah.
Oh,
And so that technology tool has been amazing. It's been able to help us coach our drivers just, I mean, exponentially better. It creates reports for every, I think they call them harsh events.
mhm,
So
mhm.
ops managers can go in, look at those once a week, give feedback to the drivers. So that's a
But
crazy.
you look back at UPS and how UPS became so efficient is because they put that technology in their trucks.
Yeah,
They found out the best routes, and they knew to take a right was better than to wait and take a left. They knew it was faster, more efficient, cost effective, less gas, all of that. So I can see how this get all that data from every single move. Oh my God,
yeah,
that's fantastic.
yeah,
And then in addition, protecting yourself. I mean, who knows how many people claim you did something and you've got a dash cam in front of you with AI that says, nope, not us. That's
yeah,
great. I'll have to look that up. But anything that I can stick technology in, I'm all for it. A little bit of AI, not fully AI. I don't want to go all in, but enough AI where it's helpful to humanity. I'm good with it. So we use ChatGPT almost every day. So
yeah,
it's a great tool. But I've always thinks of ways of automation as well. Anytime that I can automate it, I will. If there's something that even from a business owner, marketing, sales, operational, follow up, any of that stuff how can I automate this? If I move somebody into this pipeline, I want instantly all the emails on a particular situation with conditionals that if this, if that, if that. And I shouldn't have anybody in there messing with it. Nobody should be adding names into the smart moving. Nobody should be sending an email manually. Sometimes it's okay, but it, I just feel like, again, part of a scaling of a moving company is how much can I automate? Um, not to not to take away somebody's job. It's just to be more efficient at their job, to be able to do a little bit more and a little bit better. So that's my philosophy on automation on that.
yep,
So
yep. And
um
touch on a couple more
yeah.
technology think we use Ring Central as our phone system.
Mhm.
That's been incredibly powerful. To your point with marketing, you can label tracking numbers so
Yep.
that it'll come up. All my salespeople use the app on their computer, so it'll show them the marketing source if it's something that's unique that has a
Mhm.
tracking number.
Mhm.
And they don't even have to ask the customer. They put that right into the CRM. They don't have to ask how they heard about us and get bad data.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think that's a huge one. There's call recording with that. And then another big one is just cameras in our offices. I can have all the oversight from here almost that I have in person. And without those technology tools 30 years ago, I don't think it would have been impossible, but there's not really many remote owners as it is. And,
Mhm. You're
you know,
unique, that's for sure.
I think I would be one less if I didn't have all this technology to have that oversight.
Same here. My team is global, Philippines, Brazil, Canada, all over the US, because been doing that for 25 years. I've been remote for this whole time.
Yeah.
Pandemic kicked it into high gear though. Everybody went, "Oh my God, how do I do this remote thing?" I'm like, let me show you. All right, everybody. So that was fun times with the pandemic. That's when my company went, because everybody realized, wow, I got to do this digital thing now. I'm like, yeah, nobody wants to see you in person anymore. So yeah, I know it sucks. We'll get back. So just back to the course. How can people find you right now? How do we take the course? How can I get more information from you?
Yeah, just promoveruniversity.com. There's, some sample videos in our course tab. But yeah, just sign up through there, check it out. Like you said, right now, currently, we'll see pricing may go up or down, but we're at $98 a month. So yeah, check it out. It's pretty low commitment month to month. So 98 bucks to check it out, see what's in there, and hopefully you'll stay forever, but check it out for a month. If you don't like it, then that's all it costs.
Yeah, sounds good. Let me get one more piece of advice for moving company owners that are kind of struggling to grow the business. What would you tell them to do if they're struggling right now?
Um, I would say get back to the basics, if you've got time on your hands and you've got time was something we didn't have for 3 years. So if you got time in your hands, go meet somebody, get out there, network with realtors, apartment storage. I mean, get there before somebody has a chance to go to Google. If that's whatever avenue you're no longer getting, get in front of that avenue. And that's tried and true. You can always build relationships and get moves that way. So, and as far as that goes, like networking, like go find, two or three real estate offices and sponsor every sales meeting you can. It's better to do the same office 5 times than to do 5 offices once. So,
Mhm.
go find the biggest, highest producing offices and work your way down that list.
Mhm.
Get 3 of them where the office manager loves you. And, people buy from their friends. So, you know, buy
Look,
them
like,
something.
and trust.
Yeah, don't just, do you have anybody moving this month? Every time you see them, say, hey, let me buy you a beer. Like, come out, let me take you and your husband out to dinner. Like, let's sit down, let's talk. Like, get them to like you as a person, and then you never have to ask for business. You're the only mover they're ever going to recommend.
Offer your help. Just be helpful. Give a resource. What can I do to help you in your business? Send them referrals for people, friends that are moving. Hey, call this real estate agent. They're really good. Don't even expect a return in that. That's a BNI. That's a typical BNI philosophy, is how much can I give? How can I give you? How can I help you? And just naturally that will turn around. It always does. It always does. It'll come right back around tenfold. The more you give, even more you'll get back. So the more you can be helpful, and just don't expect anything in return. Not everybody's going to be reciprocating, but that's okay. You were a nice person. You did your job. You did what you could, but all right. I interviewed a real estate person a couple months ago, Jennifer Barlow. To be honest, she's my sister-in-law. And we just talked about, on a realtor's perspective, how does she refer people? What does she think of when she thinks of a moving company? She says the best thing in her mind is when they would come to the real estate office and invite them to a big luncheon, and they just would provide lunch. That's all it was. One of them had a big storage facility, and they invited him to the opening of the storage facility, and they gave him food and games and all that stuff. But it was all about just kind of just, hey, we're here, you're in person, have a conversation, be helpful and friendly. So.
One thing that we've started doing, so like last year, we only did about, at this point, I was looking up these numbers before we got on here. We only did about 35,000 in realtor business up to this point last year. And we've already done about 150 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that's just been focusing and getting back out there and beating the streets. But like what we do is we ask a lot of these realtors, like, hey, do you have any social events? And can we sponsor that and bring our team? And a lot of times movers will only take their sales staff, or like the owner's usually the only one that goes, right? I buy as many tickets as they'll let me. And like we've got a huge office, I'm not gonna say which one, in Dallas coming up. They've got a casino night, and we got 10 tickets because we were like, we bought the top package. So we got 10 tickets, and we're offering that up to all our movers. And it's so powerful to be in this room with hundreds of agents. And there's like 10 of these obnoxious yellow shirts walking around
Sure.
the party.
Mm-hmm.
And my guys, my movers are fun. Like
Yeah.
they're good, fun guys. They have very interesting lives, way more interesting than us owners these
Imagine
days.
what they see on a daily basis moving people's homes. That's always
Oh,
it's
I
like
say it all the
it's like emergency people that come into people's homes and they see everything. So yeah, they probably have some
Yeah, I
stories.
say it all the time. Like us owners, we're talking about KPIs and balance sheets and stuff. The movers are the ones out there having fun every day, and they're fun guys. And when you get them in an atmosphere, they're not selling anything. They come to these realtor events. They're there to have fun. Before you know it, they're playing. They're playing. Anyways, they're playing games with the
Whatever
real.
game it is, yeah.
They're taking shots with them. You got to kind of watch that a little bit, but but that's who they end up engaging with and liking, and that's been a big thing for us. That's really, helped our business is getting the whole team out there, because then it's like they refer the company and that guy shows up and their
Mhm.
client loves that person and they know the realtor. Like there's not a lot of movers that know the realtor that referred the business.
Right. Yeah. And again, these are the people that are coming into your home. So you need to be able to trust them and know them and like them. And so if you've had a couple beers with one of the guys there, you remember that, again, top of mind. And oh yeah, that's right. And I liked him. He was a good person, and the whole team was great. They were fun and they seemed to be solid people. So yeah, I'm okay referring to them to my clients. So cool. Well, thank you, Zane. This has been great. I learned a lot. That's for sure. So appreciate you spending the time and hopping on with me. Thank you so, so much. I'm
Yeah,
definitely going to reach out, find out how it's going with the course and see what more you're going to add to it. So I'm excited
perfect.
for you. Thank you again. Appreciate it. Anything
All
else
right.
you want to add? Did I miss anything?
One thing I've been big on lately is, again, just to reiterate, like get out there, meet some other owners. The moving company owners groups in general, just it's people that are just like you. And I think I've met some of my best friends. I travel several times a year with other moving company owners. I was literally just in Salt Lake City with visit my buddy Cameron with Best of Utah Moving 2 days ago. So, you know, get out there, meet other owners. I think that's going to be just monumental for a lot of guys out there. And then charge premium rates if you're really having a hard time, and people are so afraid of this current environment that we're in, but premium rates are always good. If you charge a lot, not a lot, if you charge a little more than your competition, you can pay more, you get better guys, you can afford better office staff, you can afford better trucks, better equipment. So
Better
I would say,
training, less problems on the other end. It all rolls together yeah, I see what you're saying.
yeah, it's really, there's not a lot of companies outside of a couple really big nationwide, dozens and dozens of locations that have really done, and even those companies are still doing slightly higher than the average prices. So, you know, being low cost is really a race to the bottom. So don't be afraid if you got single digit profit margins as far as a percentage goes. Um, if you're at 5% now and you increase your prices 5%, now you're at 10% profit margin.
Mhm.
It's really that simple. And I really want to see other movers be able to have more freedom and make more money. And it's not always about getting hard working your way out, because I busted my back. I was on trucks for 8 years, and that's not what got me here. I mean, it helps. I learned, and it taught me that I didn't want to go back. But as far as actually building a business, you've got to know your financials and your numbers, and all that gets a lot easier when you charge premium rates.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's really good advice. I can say from experience that a lot of them need to hear that for sure, because they do want to go cheap. There's a couple companies out there like, oh, it's probably not such a good idea. So they need to
Yeah.
hear that more often. In addition to just networking with other movers, I think that's essential to growth. Just learning how somebody else solved a problem that you can't always figure out on your own. So great. Thank
Yep.
you, Zane. This has been really great and helpful. So I'm going to keep in touch because
Okay.
I might even take your course just because, just so I know a little bit more. I can be trained as well. So thank you again. And I will, like I said, I'll keep in touch. And if you as well, happy to answer any questions you've got. PPC questions, always expert at that. Website development, expert at that. So you sound like you're the expert in SEO. So I'm going to reach out for that. But awesome. Thank you again. And cool. Okay, well, that was a rather awkward ending, but only because Zane and I had a much longer conversation after that. We had another 20, 30 minutes talking about SEO and paid ads and marketing, and kind of got a little bit more involved in just, the direction that the industry is going. So I think that's why it ended so awkwardly. But I wanted to send a thank you to Zane Ponsetti from Wildcat Movers. And be sure to reach out to him and his course. You can find him at, make sure I've got this, promoveruniversity.com. I am probably going to sign myself up and just get a really good understanding in terms of the training that's going on for staff, the drivers, the financial side, just for my own understanding. It looks really interesting. And to get that from somebody that's as experienced as he is, I think it would be a very valuable part of it would be very valuable. So I encourage you all to do that. Again, it's Zane Ponsetti. He's got promoveruniversity.com. Check him out. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next podcast. Bye.